On the signal they shouldn't have sent, the sky burned. On a quiet alien world, deep in the outer spiral, the cities shook as massive enemy ships filled the sky. The peaceful people of this planet had no weapons strong enough to fight. Their defenders were crushed in minutes. Buildings turned to dust. Families ran and screamed. The enemy didn't come to conquer, they came to erase. High above, in the last surviving tower, the alien leaders gathered. Their skin pale, their voices low. They knew the end was near. "We have no hope," one whispered. "There is one thing left," said another. She turned toward a dusty console. Something forgotten, old, dangerous. It was the ancient transmitter. Built long ago, meant to send distress across galaxies. But no one used it anymore. Everyone believed Earth was gone, its people lost in time. Still, one trembling finger pressed the red button. A message left the planet screaming through space to any who hear us. "Please help. We beg for mercy. We are under attack. They will wipe us out." What they didn't know was who would answer. Far across the stars, something stirred. On the cold side of a forgotten moon, a black station blinked to life. It hadn't moved in hundreds of years. Its systems were covered in ice, its lights long dead. Until now. The signal reached its core. Inside, massive machines awoke. Warning lights flashed red. Alarms echoed through empty halls. One ancient panel lit up with glowing letters. Terran protocol triggered. Signal received on Earth. Hidden deep beneath the oceans, another signal pulsed. A sleeping war AI blinked online. It scanned the message, analyzed the threat, and sent one line of code: "Awaken." In the dark void, far from any sun, massive warships opened their eyes. They were not ordinary ships. These were Terran warships, sleek, armored, terrifying. Built not for show, but for silence, power, and precision. Ships that hadn't flown in centuries. Each carried weapons strong enough to crack planets. Crews inside them began to wake from deep sleep. One soldier opened his eyes inside a black chamber. His breath fogged the glass of his pod. He looked at the red screen beside him. Mission: respond to distress. Protect. Terminate threat. He didn't ask why. He didn't need to. Earth was answering the call. Back on the alien world, the people hid in caves. The skies were filled with fire. The enemy ships grew bolder. Their commander laughed. "No one will come for them, they're alone." But he was wrong. Far above, just outside the system, space tore open. A ripple, then silence, then shadows. Dozens of dark shapes appeared in space. No message, no sound, just cold black Terran warships, waiting, watching, preparing. The enemy ships didn't know what to make of them. "Scan those vessels," the commander shouted. The scans failed. No data. Unknown signature. Impossible size. Then, one of the Terran ships moved. It turned slowly, almost like it was looking, and then it fired. A single red beam shot forward. Clean, quiet, deadly. An enemy cruiser exploded instantly. No smoke, no warning, just gone. The enemy panicked. Ships turned. Some tried to flee. Too late. More Terran ships powered up. Their engines glowed, blue. Lights traced across their hulls. Weapons hummed, the void filled with death. In moments, the once powerful enemy fleet was breaking apart. The sky over the alien world began to clear. One child peeked from behind rubble, pointing up. "What is that?" he asked. An elder looked up too, her eyes wide. "That is not a ship." She swallowed hard. "That's Earth's answer." Shadows over the stars, the signal had been sent. But now, the stars had changed, orbiting silently above the outer rim of the Trion system. The alien station known as Relan 4 picked up strange readings. Its long-range sensors flickered, power surged. Something huge was coming, something the scanners couldn't name. Commander Yelvar stood still, staring at the growing red blip on the holomap. It moved too fast, too straight. It didn't match any ship design known to the Galactic Registry, and it didn't respond to hails. The station's crew watched in silence. Outside the wide glass viewport, stars glittered, but now a shadow moved between them, a shape, cold, black, silent. Then, the lights inside Relin 4 dimmed. The systems didn't fail. They surrendered. A massive Terran warship, shaped like a blade, exited fold space just kilometers from the station. It didn't announce itself. It didn't flash lights or show symbols. It simply hovered in the darkness, like a predator studying its prey. Who called them? A young technician whispered. They all knew. The weak distress call sent days ago, asking for help, sent blindly to coordinates tagged Ancient Earth Sector. It was meant as a joke, a desperate, hopeless cry, but someone heard it, and they came. On the bridge of the Terran ship, no face could be seen. The crew wore dark helmets, silent, focused. Their weapons stayed ready. A second ship appeared behind them, then a third. A whole fleet shimmered into reality, black ships with glowing red engines. The commander of Relin 4 tried to send a message, a polite greeting, a plea for peace, no reply. Instead, the Terran ship opened its lower deck and launched a small black probe. It glided toward the station, silent, watching. Inside the station, lights flickered again. Panic started to rise. Was this war? Had they awoken something forgotten? Just then, the screen blinked. One question: who asked for help? That was all. Just those words. No name, no demands. Commander Yelvar's throat went dry. The aliens wanted peace, but Earth had forgotten peace. It had been gone too long, silent too long. Now, its ships had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same. The fleet that shouldn't exist. The black probe returned to the Terran ship. No one spoke inside the station. Even the air felt heavy. Commander Yelvar stared at the message still blinking on the screen. Who asked for help? Every crew member looked at each other, but no one answered. Then came the sound. Low, deep, not from speakers. It came through the walls, from space, like a storm rolling in, far away but unstoppable. Another Terran ship appeared, bigger than the rest, twice the size of the station itself. Its hull was marked with glowing scars like it had survived wars older than any living species. One technician whispered, "This ship, it's not in any record. It looks ancient." Commander Yelvar narrowed his eyes. "No, it looks Terran." Suddenly, the power in the station dropped. All systems paused. Only the emergency lights stayed on. The Terran fleet was doing something. No weapons were fired. No threats were spoken. But the message changed. If you lie, we leave. No witness. In the silence, the old communications officer stood slowly. He looked pale. I sent the signal," he said. "It was an accident. I thought it wouldn't reach anything. Earth was supposed to be gone." Commander Yelvar nodded. "Then we tell them the truth." He turned to the camera and sent a reply. "It was a mistake. We didn't know. Please, no harm was meant." The screen flickered. The message disappeared. For a moment, they thought it worked. Then, one of the Terran ships moved, not forward, but sideways, as if surrounding them. And then came more. 30, 40, 50 ships, all black, all silent, all impossible. Some were sharp and new. Others looked like ruins brought back to life, patched with alien metals, burning with strange energy. They didn't match. They didn't belong to any single time or style. One officer whispered in fear, "This isn't a fleet. It's a graveyard that flies." And then from the largest ship, a voice finally spoke. Deep, cold, robotic. "You called the dead. Now listen to their judgment." The screen went black. The station began to shake. The galaxy had moved on from Earth, forgotten its warnings, erased its name, but Earth had not forgotten, and Earth does not forgive. The judgment begins. The shaking stopped, but silence was worse. Outside the station, the Terran warships floated in perfect formation. Not one moved, not one blinked, like statues in the void, watching, waiting. Inside the command room, no one dared breathe. A cold digital voice echoed through the speakers again. "You have 30 seconds to explain your intent." Commander Yelvar stepped forward. His voice was calm, but his hands were shaking behind his back. "We didn't mean to call you. It was an error. The signal was never meant to reach Earth. We thought Earth was gone." Another pause. "Earth is not gone. We simply watched, in silence." Outside, one of the Terran ships lit up. Its engines glowed brighter, blood red now. "Why so many ships?" one of the engineers whispered. "It's just one call." "Why did they send a whole Warfleet?" another officer answered, voice low. "Because they don't trust words, only actions." A transmission flashed on screen. It wasn't text, it was a recording. They watched as footage played. Images of galaxies at war, aliens breaking peace treaties, planets burned, treaties torn, and always humanity, watching from the shadows, silent, waiting. Then the last image, a file, labeled in Terran script, Protocol Nemesis. "Open it," Commander Yelvar ordered. The screen went black. Then it showed only one word, activated. Suddenly outside the station the ships began to move. Not toward them, but toward the stars. Not just this system. Every direction. The Warfleet was not here just for them. The message was for the galaxy, and they had witnessed the beginning. One of the younger officers, pale and breathless, whispered, "They're going to every race that ignored Earth." A second fleet decloaked near the system's edge. Then a third. The Terrans had not come in anger. They had come in justice. Yelvar said nothing, just stared out the window, because he knew. This was not the end. This was just the beginning of Earth's return. Echoes of fear. The stars were no longer silent. All across the galaxy, systems lit up with strange movements. Fleets arriving, signals vanishing, surveillance probes going dark. The name Earth was once spoken like a myth. Now, it returned. Like thunder. In the Genthari sector, high in the towers of the Trade Council, leaders sat frozen. A report blinked on their holoscreen. Unregistered Terran fleet entered system. No comms. No weapons fired. Then, silence. Then came the video feed. A massive Terran dreadnought hovering over a gas giant, unmoving, its black hull absorbing light, as if space itself bowed around it. No message, no threats, just presence. Ambassador Vlek's voice cracked. "They're watching us." In the shadows of the Archelon Empire, warlords panicked. One whispered, "We ignored the Terran call when their probes returned. We thought they were dead." Another hissed, "We should have answered. Now they've answered for us." But nowhere was the fear stronger than in the station that sent the original call for help. Commander Yelvar stared at the screen. The Terran warships had moved beyond his system, but one stayed behind, just one. A black vessel, small, silent, armed, and staring directly at their station. It never spoke, just watched, waiting. "What do they want?" one officer asked. A whisper behind them spoke the truth. "They want us to remember. Remember Earth. Remember the silence. Remember the warnings." In that moment, every race who mocked the name of Earth, every leader who denied Terran intelligence, every species who thought they were safe, felt the same thing. A chill, a tremor, and the terrifying truth. The galaxy had forgotten Earth, but Earth never forgot them. The reckoning fleets, the silence was over. It began in Sector Theta 9, Without warning, space folded open. From the heart of that tier, a Terran Warfleet emerged, silent, sharp, and shining with deadly light. Hundreds of ships poured through the rift, each bigger and more advanced than anything the current galaxy had seen. The lead vessel broadcast no symbols, no demands. It simply hovered in orbit of the system's capital world. All power grids on the planet went dark. The empire below scrambled its defenses. Fighters launched, cannons charged, and then nothing. All their weapon systems went offline at once. The Terran ship hadn't fired. It just jammed everything, perfectly. One by one, the defending ships drifted, helpless, and the Terran fleet moved on. They didn't conquer. They didn't land. They only left a message, burned into the moon's surface in giant glowing letters. You asked for aid. Earth responds. News spread fast. In every system touched by the Terran fleet, something changed. Governments halted wars. Black markets shut down. Old enemies sent peace offerings, terrified the Terrans might be watching. In the outer colonies, an alien leader demanded answers. Why don't they speak? What do they want? His advisor answered with a trembling voice. They already gave their answer, with silence and with ships. And far beyond the stars, deep in a void no ship dared go. Something, older than any race, forgotten and massive, began to wake. Because Earth's fleets weren't just responding. They were clearing a path for something bigger, for what comes next. In the coldest corner of the galaxy, past dead stars and ancient black holes, something opened. It was not a gate. It was not a weapon. It was a memory, buried so deep that even Earth had forgotten, but now it stirred. Beneath a frozen moon in a system with no name, an object pulsed. It wasn't metal. It wasn't alive. It was something in between. It had waited for centuries, maybe millennia, until now. As Earth's Warfleet moved across the stars, silently correcting chaos, ending wars without a single word, it finally heard the signal it had waited for, not the alien distress call but the human response, and the pulse grew stronger. Back in galactic space, more species began noticing strange patterns. Navigation lanes changed on their own. Star charts updated themselves. And at the center of it all, Earth's Warfleet kept advancing. But even they didn't know what they'd awakened. Suddenly, across hundreds of systems, all Terran ships paused. Not because of enemy fire, but because every single ship, at once, received new coordinates. From nowhere. The message was simple. Return. The origin calls. The fleet turned, one by one. Like shadows dancing between suns, the warships left. Galactic leaders panicked. What did we wake? One asked. And deep in the void, as the last ship vanished into hyperspace, the object under the ice cracked open. A massive eye, dark, mechanical, ancient, opened for the first time in 100,000 years, and a voice filled the void. Earth never forgets. The galaxy froze, because the fleet was just the beginning.